So now we can switch on to talking about your interview experience, like the interview process and the number of rounds, all these things. But before that, do you remember the number of students shortlisted for this particular JAF for the interview?
I don't know the exact number, but probably it was some 8 or 9 students for my JEF were shortlisted, and 5 or 6 students were waitlisted.
Okay, okay, yeah, yes, 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 yes. So now we can talk about your interview experience. If you could walk us through the interview rounds or your interview process mainly.
Okay, so basically 3 interview rounds were mentioned in JEF, and so I my in my interview they took 3 interviews, one in HR and 2 technical rounds. uh, First technical round was around 50 minutes, 1 hour.
Yeah.
Second round was 1 hour 15 minutes, and third round was HR round, that was of around 45 minutes.
Yes.
So in first round, first and 2 rounds were almost similar. First round was taken by only one person, and he asked about very basic things in signals and system, some very basic things about microprocessors, and very basic coding in C, and uh, probability and aptitude questions. Interviewers were very helpful during the interview, because when my interview was started, I was very nervous, and when he asked me the first question, I felt that I kind of forgot everything. So he helped me in knowing the steps of that question, and I came to the answer. Afterwards, whatever questions they were asking, even if I knew something about a particular question, I was telling them about something about that question, even if I didn't know the question, and they somewhat helped me to get to the conclusion. Uh, so they were asking very basic things, and if they were not asking very basic things, they were guiding to get to the final answer. Um, yeah, and one thing is that I was very careful that I will not bluff about what the things I don't know. I told them about whatever things I knew, and like I told that I'm feeling that this could be the answer, but I don't know, or I'm not sure. I think that this will be the first step. I can go to the answer by thinking like this. Yeah, so I was trying to show them my thought process. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
So yes. So as you mentioned that there were 3 rounds, right?
Hmm.
2 of them was technical rounds,
Hmm.
and last was the HR round.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So in
second
the first
round was
yeah. So in the
uh,
first
sec-
one, there were questions on signal and systems and some basic coding questions. So, means if you could talk like what type of coding questions were they asking actually, or means were they asking you some logic, some algorithm, what were they asking actually?
Yeah, I think coding questions were mostly mathematical. Like they were asking about you want to do a certain thing with 50% probability. So how would you write the code about it? Code for it? Like it's very simple code. Like we have to generate a random number, and if it is less than 0.45, we have to do something, and if it is greater than 0.5, we have to do something. Yeah, they were very simple questions and mathematical in nature. Like it was not like you want to do this task and how optimally you will do this task. It was not like this. The tasks were mathematical tasks they were looking for.
So how had you prepared actually? Like when you got to know that you are being interviewed for Cadence, so how did you
Mm.
prepare for these type of questions?
Yeah, actually, I didn't know what kind of questions they will be asking, but from the description of Jeff, I got to know that they will be asking something in signal processing. So signal processing, as I prepared from Coursera. Like I did one small course and my concepts got brushed up for the interview. Uh, yeah, and see, I didn't prepare specifically. I whatever I remembered from my first UC first year coding course, I told that only. Moreover, C is very related to MATLAB. So I was very much in touch with MATLAB
Oh.
for my MTP as well as my BTP.
Mm.
Yeah, so I was able to tell them about coding questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, for aptitude as well, I didn't prepare specifically. I prepared during gate preparation. Yeah, I didn't prepare specifically.
Yeah. So in aptitude, what type of questions were they asking? Some numerical questions or some puzzle type? What was their focus?
Uh, Mostly probability related.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, probability or somewhat numerical, like questions from chessboard, like how many squares are there, how many
Oh,
uh, rectangles are there, these kind of questions.
oh, yeah, yeah. I get it. Yes. Yes. So that way the first round was concluded, and now there was the second round. Second round was also a technical round.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
So
was
what
also.
happened what happened in this round mainly?
Yeah, so this round, so this time 3 persons were taking the technical round, and some of the questions which they asked in the first round were repeated. So I knew the answers from the first round, uh, and somewhat advanced questions were also asked from jet transform,
Okay.
uh, from some from fast Fourier transform, uh, yeah, and filtering.
Yeah.
Basically, they were asking the questions of somewhat higher level, but they were very easy questions only.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 or 3 questions were asked from microprocessor, like how many number of address lines you will be required for addressing these many memory cells,
Yeah.
uh, and yeah, data lines. How many data lines do you require? Uh, uh, and One or two coding questions they asked in such a way, like kind of assembly language coding questions, but in C.
Okay.
How will you divide a number in most efficient way? Yeah. um, I think they were trying to ask the coding questions which are related to doing the things efficiently if we know about how microprocessor works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. So I think in this round there were questions mainly on mainly on electrical engineering. I can say signal processing and microprocessors.
Yeah.
And as you have mentioned that they were asking questions on jet transform, filtering, fast Fourier transform, all these things they were asking. So I
Hmm.
guess at some point of time during your gate preparation, you would have studied those things.
Yes, I studied these things. Yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. So I think the people who write get in electrical engineering, so they can find these questions, easy, or at least they will be compatible with these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. And microprocessor 8085, 8086, we also study during our gate, means we prepare for those questions. So I think those questions can also be solved by revising our gate concepts.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say that my whole preparation was through gate preparation. I didn't prepare specifically for the interview.
Oh,
Just brush up of the concepts
yes.
through one course. Yeah.
So in these two rounds, the technical these two rounds, like were there any tricky questions which you feel that you might have answered better, or at least you were like stuck or something? Some tricky.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
yeah, there were tricky questions. Uh, I was stuck, but then I tried to. I don't remember the questions exactly. One question was from chessboard, and they asked me about number of squares. So I didn't knew about it. Then they somehow knew that I know the concepts somewhere. So they told me about how you just calculate the number of lines, and now how will you go. Then I got the answer
Yeah.
after they guiding me. Uh, yeah, but there was no question which they skipped in my interview. No question was skipped that, oh, you don't know, let's skip. They told me something, and then I added something, and the answer came up.
Yeah. Yeah, means they were giving some kind of clues, or at least some
Huh.
hints, even if you were not able to get the right answer, but they were helping you out, and that way you could, help, means get the right answer by using those hints actually.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that way we had these two rounds, and then there was a third round. That was HR round.
Yes.
Yes.
Huh.
So what happened in that HR round? What were the questions that were mainly being asked?
Okay. So in my HR round, first of all, they asked about, do you know about the kind of profile you would be allotted, and are you happy about this profile? Um, Basically, probably they wanted to know that if if you take her, will she come for sure? I don't know.
Yeah.
And apart from that, they asked me about one question I remember, and I answered it very interesting. They asked about what is the most creative thing you did in your childhood. When was the last time you got inspired to do something? When was the last time you inspired some team members? You were working in a team, and when you led the team, how you felt about it. So probably they wanted to know my coordinating skills.
Yes.
uh, yeah. uh, yeah. And one question they asked about me was, I was giving the interview. uh, I When I was giving the interview, I was sitting in my storeroom. So they asked me about, yeah, the place where you are sitting is seems very interesting. What is this place? I was sitting in the storeroom because diseases were going on around uh, on that day.
Yeah. Okay. So you were at home at that time.
Yeah, so they were very friendly. Like they were very curious about where I'm sitting, and they just asked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing that the sometimes the interviewer they really wants to make us feel comfortable, so that we can answer properly sometimes, because they know that we sometimes feel nervous, so then they try to make us feel comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. HR were very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anything like, did they ask you something like, why don't you want to go for a PhD or something? Did they ask you something?
Yeah, they asked me about, are you why do you not want to go for PhD?
Yes.
So my answer was very simple. Like, I am interested in the technical work, and in PhD the things get specialized, and I want to see the practical applications of the kind of work I do.
Yes.
Uh, and they asked me about whether you might have given some other interviews. So uh, will you prefer Cadence or some other company? So my answer was very simple, that yeah, it is my first company I'm giving interviews.
Yes, Nisha. So I guess then we have talked about the rounds which happened in your interview process. Like there were three rounds, two technical rounds and one HR round, and we have also briefly touched upon the questions which were asked in those three rounds. And I guess those things will definitely help the students, because sometimes like in your case, you were mainly relying upon the JAF, the things mentioned in the JAF to prepare for your interview. But I think now we have your experience, so people can take a note of the things which you have mentioned, and they can prepare for their for their interview for Cadence. So Nisha, in your case, means what was your plan B? Had you not been selected for Cadence, what was your plan B then?
Yeah, actually, I thought that not so many electrical companies allow my department, electronics companies, and we have to go through walk-ins. And this time, since the things are online, I was not sure about how walk-ins will happen. So I prepared for data science. I learned machine learning. I did basic Andrew Ng course on machine learning. Later, I also did one course from CS department in machine learning.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I did some assignments online in Coursera on machine learning. Yeah, I was fully preparing for
Yes.
machine learning and data science profiles.
Yeah. So you were having
In
that profile as a backup plan.
No, in fact, I thought that maybe core companies won't be selecting biomedical students, so it was like my plan A. I was
Okay.
totally preparing for data science.
Yeah, but you got selected for plan B in the very first place.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and later I felt that it's really good. I won't have like I would not have enjoyed the data science as much as I would enjoy the cadence and signal processing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Nisha. So, Nisha, we have covered, your interview process as well. So we can talk, a few last things, which also again comes into the mind of M.Tech students, like, POR, like positions of responsibility. So in your case, were there any questions being asked on your POR in your interview?
Uh, in technical rounds, no, but in HR round, like they did not ask from the PORs, but I included the PORs because PORs show that we are a team player, and uh, yeah, so I included like during my B.Tech I was captain in volleyball team, so I told that yeah, I have done the teamwork during my captain. I was in cap When I was captain, I motivated the students in this way. Sometimes we used to go demotivated, and how I used to motivate them. uh, yeah, and apart from that, I think PORs help in developing your personality, or
Yeah.
like even if it doesn't have the direct impact, it have indirect impact on your interviews.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
Nisha. Yes, Nisha. So before we wrap up, anything you want to add?
Uh, okay, for specifically for cadence, I would advise that just prepare the basics of microprocessors, maybe digital and signals and systems, somewhat digital signal processing, uh, and basic C coding.
Yes.
Yeah. So basics are very important. They would be looking about basics. If they ask any advanced questions, they will be guiding you at some point or another, and you will get some idea.
Yeah. Yes, Nisha. Yes, Nisha. So, any advice for your upcoming M.Tech biomedical engineering students? Any tips you want to give to them?
Uh, so if not specifically to the electronic background, I will give the advice that first of all, see where your background is coming from and what is your trajectory, and try to choose the your target accordingly, like in the target in which you would be able to do the best. And for electronics background student, I will suggest that if you are getting time, you do some courses, elective courses from electrical department, uh, if you want to go into electronics profiles, and some courses from CSE department if you want to go into coding profiles. um, and yeah, it's very much manageable. It may seem that it's not manageable, but yeah, it's My department courses are not so much hectic and we can easily manage, and at the end it will help in placements.
Yeah, Nisha. Yes, so as you have mentioned that means depending on the profile which you are targeting, you can select courses from different departments.
Yeah.
And thankfully at IIT Bombay, we do not have restrictions on selecting courses. We can study courses from any department. So I think that's a bliss for the students studying at IIT Bombay, and we should avail ourselves of that opportunity. So definitely, so your advice will help them out. And since you have achieved something, you could crack the interview of Cadence despite being a biomedical engineering student. You could crack that. So I think your words people would take as seriously, and they will also get motivated. Yes, Nisha. So thank you, Nisha. Thank you for taking out time for getting your experience recorded, and we really believe that your experience will help a lot of students across the country. So yeah, so thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Sudhakar, for giving me the opportunity to tell about my experience.
Yes,
Yeah,
Nisha.
thank